Maryland sees another jump in the number of coronavirus cases. There are now more than 32,000 cases and more than 1,500 people have died. Hospitalizations, however, are steadily declining. WJZ is live this morning. Amy Kawada brings us the latest on these numbers. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Tim. The latest numbers show nursing home deaths now account for more than half of the total number of coronavirus-related deaths here in Maryland. And over the weekend, Governor Larry Hogan provided an update on testing in the state. Governor Larry Hogan released a photo of hundreds of COVID-19 tests being delivered to a home for disabled veterans on the Eastern Shore. In addition, the governor says there will be universal testing at the 2 poultry processing plants on the Eastern Shore, along with a screening site set up at Purdue Stadium in Salisbury. The governor also released a statement saying, in part, while our focus remains on outbreaks and hotspots, we are expanding testing for our frontline healthcare workers and first responders, and increasing the number of drive-through sites at vehicle emissions inspection program stations statewide. This week, if the numbers of hospitalizations remain stable, the governor says he may consider phase 1 of reopening the state. Over the weekend, city-owned reservoirs opened for people to exercise.
While residents are now able to do more physical activities outdoors, our social distancing and face cloth covering guidance remains in place.
A few other restrictions are still in place at reservoirs. City officials say you still can't fish on platforms right now. You also can't walk on Loch Graven Drive on the weekends. Reporting live this morning, I'm Amy Kawada for WJZ.
Amy, thank you. Vice President Mike Pence tests negative for the coronavirus after his press secretary contracted it. And today, President Trump will hold a Rose Garden press conference with the focus on testing. Ian Lee reports for WJZ.
It is scary to go to work.
White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said he'd feel safer at home after some aides tested positive for the coronavirus.
It's a small, crowded place. You know, it's a little bit risky, but you have to do it because you have to serve your country.
3 top health officials, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, are now quarantining on some level after coming in contact with at least one of them.
Reopening.
Meanwhile, President Trump's economic team hit the Sunday talk shows to discuss the pandemic's financial toll.
There's a considerable risk of not reopening. You're talking about what would be permanent economic damage.
Hassett says the White House is closely watching states that have reopened.
We're watching very closely what happens to those states get their economies up relatively quickly. Does the opening of the state lead to a new outbreak of the disease?
Yesterday, a model the Trump administration uses increased its projected death toll after seeing more people moving around.
Just explosive increases in mobility in a number of states that we expect will translate into more cases and deaths, in 10 days from now.
Today, Arizona becomes the latest state to allow restaurants to reopen.
It's been hard not to see everyone.
Aioli Gourmet Burger removed some booths and put up barriers, but owner Tommy D'Ambrosio says serving fewer customers will be tough.
When you have to limit your capacity, it really makes it difficult to be able to make just enough money to still keep the lights on.
Halfway around the world, Shanghai Disneyland reopened today with limited visitors. It had been closed since January. Ian Lee, CBS News.
The Food and Drug Administration grants emergency authorization for a new coronavirus test. The FDA says it will allow the Quidel Corporation in San Diego to develop antigen tests. The test looks for pieces of the virus, unlike current tests that search for its genetic material. Antigen tests might not be as reliable as existing tests, but components of the virus could be easier to find. WJZ has everything you need to know during these tough times. Go to WJZ.com and look under top stories for a list of resources. The most important links and numbers are under quick links.